Hi everyone, we're back again. I'm Catherine, this is Berkeley. I'm the Communications Director here at the Tennessee Bar Association. Berkeley is our Public Policy and Government Affairs Director, and we're bringing you another legislative update. This time in an even newer, better location than last time. So just pardon me, this is one of those days where I cannot get enough coffee in my system, so I will be sipping on some caffeine through this.
It's necessary. It's that kind of week.
Yeah, and I need to appear perky for all of you. So the past few weeks we have gone over all of the bills that the TBA has written, the legislation that we are supporting as an organization. But there's obviously a ton of bills at the legislature each session that do pertain to the legal community and are of interest to lawyers and even affect the profession. So Berkeley has gone through, for you, she has done this. She's gone through and flagged some of those bills just to kind of get you guys aware of what's out there. And she'll be able to share kind of what status they're at. And then also let us know the status of our bills, which we have already discussed with you guys in previous videos. So Berkeley, what's going on down there?
Well, it's been a busy week. Every week is a busy week these days. So I'm just going to run through some of the bills that have come up that we've been working on that you may want to know about and where they are and what's going on with them. And I know that Catherine always lists the bill numbers and the links when she posts it to YouTube. And so we may try to do that in our Facebook comments too. So the first bill I'll mention is SB 275. It passed the Senate. It's the Uniform Foreign Country Money Judgments Recognition Act. Our international section executive council worked on this bill along with the Uniform Law Commissioners and introduced an amendment, but it just deals with defining foreign country judgment and specifies standards and procedures for recognition of foreign country judgment. So that passed the Senate this week, so that's a bill that's moving. Another bill you may care about is the consumer protection claims related to medical devices and pharmaceuticals. And basically this is a bill that regulates legal advertising for claims related to medical devices and pharmaceuticals. And the bill number is SB 352 and HB 352. And it was introduced by Senator Briggs, and the Senate bill passed the Senate 24-6, but it has some pretty specific instructions for lawyers for legal advertisement. You have to display that it's a paid advertisement for legal services. You have to, it prohibits transfer of protected health information, which is not necessarily something lawyers would do, but they say it's not targeted at lawyers, but it says legal advertisement. So our litigation section was concerned about the bill. We've weighed in. It has a lot of support. Yeah. And so it will go now, start moving in the House. So we're working with the House sponsors just to kind of make sure that lawyers are protected and that, you know, because we're already regulated by the BPR. So,
and Berkeley, you keep going. I'm going to straighten out our camera a little bit. Make sure we're looking level. Oh, that's nicer, right?
Yeah, sure.
What do you think, universe?
I think it's
a little
good.
Bit straighter?
Yeah, a little straighter.
All right, keep going.
Okay, so that is that bill, and I'm just kind of going through my notes. Another bill is Mike Carter's bill, HB 190, and that bill talks about an administrator or an executor of an estate, and it requires anyone who's going to play, act in that role to swear or take an oath that they're not disqualified from serving due to receiving a sentencing or imprisonment. So that's already a rule. That's already a disqualification. But I guess you kind of have to volunteer that information. And so they're now wanting to make sure that whoever is taking on this role isn't now going to be in prison. And so then they wouldn't be able to fulfill that role. So we actually worked with our probate study group and sent an amendment to Mike Carter, which he adopted, making the bill clearer.
Excellent.
Yes. Another important bill that a lot of people have been concerned about is HB 122, and let's see, SB 54. That bill is about grandparent visitation. We, you know, at the bar and lawyers in general, I think we all support grandparents, you know, playing a role in their children's lives.
Yeah.
But there's already a statute, you know, on this in the law, and each year a bill comes up trying to expand the rights for grandparents. And, you know, usually once you get before the court, you're already fighting, you know, between the parties, or you wouldn't be, you know, trying to having to go to court. And this bill actually established that reasonable visitation was twice a month, and it created a rebuttable presumption for judges. And so judges were concerned because they want to be able to be, they're the ones that are, you know, based on the facts, deciding what should be reasonable with visitation. And when you have the twice a month, it just doesn't always work, and we need just to let the judges be able to have their own discretion. And so we were concerned about that. That bill has been sent to summer study, which basically means it's not moving this year. So we'll, you know, we'll see what happens on that next year. Another important bill is a bill introduced by our friend Senator Stevens, but it's SB 990. And it deals with nonpartisan elections for judicial offices in Shelby and Davidson County.
Yeah, and this one's been in the news a lot recently.
It has. And so, you know, anytime you single out certain counties and have different rules there than other counties, I think can be a red flag and something that we haven't really gotten behind. And so, you know, we've kind of had a longstanding public policy position against that. And so that bill actually died in the House. So that's not going to move anymore. And we worked to spread our position and to educate the members. So we were pleased to see that not move. And then another bill. So you've heard me talk about our construction lien bill, right? And that bill was adding the, you know, adding malice to a statute that passed last year that, you know, says that if you mistakenly or in error file a construction lien, you have to there are all these penalties. Well, we originally wanted to just repeal the entire statute, but we didn't know politically if that would fly. And so that's why we added malice to the statute. Well, now there's this bill HB 757, which is a caption bill, which means the bill written does not do what the bill is going to do. So what they did is during the subcommittee, they agreed on an amendment. The amendment substituted the entirety of the bill, so just erased all the language of the bill, put in new language, and all it says is repeal, you know, delete 6621-108, which is the statute we don't like. So that passed the subcommittee, that passed the full committee. So we're behind that bill now. We've kind of left our bill in the background to see if we need it. But we like this bill better, and the construction people are thrilled because if we can just delete the entire statute, because we never thought it was necessary in the first place.
That's great.
It is great. That was exciting. So that's set for the House floor next week. Let's see what else is out there that's interesting. So there's another bill that was introduced by Senator Massey and Representative Littleton. And it makes it a Class A misdemeanor if a person intentionally tries to influence a witness in a hearing of a case involving domestic abuse victim and tries to get them to testify falsely or withhold truthful testimony. And so what it's supposed to try to keep people from doing is, you know, if you're in an abusive situation and you've sent your boyfriend or your husband, you know, you've called the police and he's in jail now. They might call you, you know, because they get their calls, and so when you answer the phone, you know, a lot of times the person who's in jail says, don't, you know, please drop the charges, I need to go back to work, you know, all these things, and they're saying that can intimidate, you know, this witness. And we have we think that the idea behind the bill is a well-meaning idea. We're a little concerned about the language, and so we're trying to work with sponsors to tighten up the language, and it may be that we have to move to the House side to do that. But we have some amendments that we think will make the bill a lot better.
That'll be one we keep our eyes on.
Exactly. Another bill is So we mentioned our service process bill.
Yes.
And whether the process server has to list his address or not. That's the question. So our bill as written, which our bill in the Senate is SB 456, and in the House HB 393, introduced by Stevens and Garrett. Senator Stevens was concerned because of the language that was used in the bill. He just felt like he just didn't like the way the language read. So we were able to work out an amendment with our people and come up with language that we could all agree on. So that's going to be introduced into the Senate. It still does the same thing, but it makes it clear that the process that was served already had to be effective, and that leaving the address out would not in itself make it ineffective, and that the address could be, that the judge could make sure that everyone has all the addresses they needed by all the process servers. So that's what we did in sort of a roundabout explanation. Another bill we actually supported was SB 1403, which was introduced by Senator Bell, and it deals with reporting of child abuse, and we supported that bill, and that's moving right along at the Senate Judiciary Committee. And let's see what else. I think I just have one more to kind of go through. Oh, and our subject matter jurisdiction case about the trial courts being able to hear, domestic relations cases, even though allegations of dependency and neglect come up. That was passed out of House Judiciary Committee. So hopefully sounds like there's no opposition to it. So I think that'll just keep moving. So really, those are the main bills that we've been working on this year. This year feels like a year. This week, there are a lot of other ones we've sort of weighed in on, various bills, and we're just trying to stay on top of it, keep everybody up to date, get some good information back from the attorneys, and work on it that way. So
yeah, we mentioned this year. Today is the last day of February.
It is. It's crazy.
It's flying by. But we've still got quite a bit of session left. So
that's right.
We'll still be here. Next week, we hope to, in one of the coming weeks, have a couple of guests for you to talk about some of these bills. And we'll keep you posted on that. And like Berkeley said at the top of this, we are going to try to start posting the links to the bills in the comments section below. So if you're watching this not live, you're watching it later, which we've discovered most people do. You can look below, and we'll provide the links once it's posted to the bills we've discussed, so you can read about them further. Obviously, Berkeley does a great job explaining them. I wouldn't understand them without her.
There's a lot more detail.
Yes, so you might want to read more yourself and come to your conclusions on them. There's a small tidbit I wanted to share with you.
Yes.
I was at an event earlier this week, and I ran into Chancellor Moskal, Pat Moskal, and she came up to me and said that she is so excited about these updates and has been watching every week. So, Chancellor Moskal, if you're watching, thank you.
Thank you.
And it is so great to be sort of out in the wild and hearing that you guys are actually paying attention.
It is exciting because we film them live, and but we're excited that we're getting the information out and that people appreciate it. So.
Yeah, so as always, we love your feedback. We love questions and comments. So I can see some are popping up, but my eyes are not good enough to...
The BPR in Tennessee needs to be defunded.
Well, that's a separate issue.
We've had some weird questions, but so far none to address on our live broadcast. So if you have a question about any of these bills, feel free to post it below, and we'll talk about it next week, assuming that it's within our purview.
That's right.
So if you want to ask us about something, the ABA is doing, or the Texas bar is doing, we have no statements there. We have nothing to tell you. But if it's something about one of these bills in the Tennessee legislature, we'd love to address it.
That's right.
On that note, we will see you next week.